Good evening, lovely people. It's evening from my part of the world. Good evening one more time. Let's have another difficult and yet necessary conversation. Let's have another difficult and yet necessary conversation. If we trade in short-term discomfort because these conversations are difficult. Well, it might resonate with a lot of people, it might be normal in some homes, but many Africans do not train ourselves and our brains, our mindset to have these kind of conversations. We know there are things we need to talk about. I don't know whether it's the confidence that's not there, or we assume that things will just work out by themselves. But many a time they won't. So it's discomfort when you are having these kind of conversations. But I've come to realize that it's better to trade in short-term discomfort for long-term dysfunctionalities. And what that means is, if conversations are necessary, it doesn't matter how difficult they are, we should be empowered enough to have them. You take the emotions out, reason through them, such that the discomfort will be just temporary, just for a while. All the people involved in that conversation would come into a conclusion with clarity, so you all know you are marching forward based on an agenda. Just, to me, it's better that way than just to be there and assuming that things will work out themselves, and in no time we turn around and we don't have the luxury of time anymore. So yes, another difficult and yet necessary conversations. Come, let's reason together. I work with people who are 70 and above. And I always tell you, once I got into the student mood, there is no day I wake up that the universe doesn't teach me something. So in as much as I am there as a professional helping people to reconnect with themselves, own their lives and live their dreams, meaning I coach them in certain difficult areas in their lives, I also draw a lot of wisdom from what I do. Many wisdom principles that you should be able to extrapolate if only your life is important to you. Important might not be the word, because we all claim life is important to us, but critically, if you want to live a meaningful life, let me put it that way, then these are conversations we should have. So I'm privileged enough to work with these people, and I don't just listen to them, I learn as a person. and I share this wisdom with you. There are huge research out there. You can even go online today, just type in the regrets of the dying, and you have the common basics one, between 5 and 7, depending on the angle that the writer is taking it from. And this forms the basis of the conversation I'm going to have with you tonight. Yeah, so just like I said, it's a difficult conversation, but then we need to have it. We really need to have it. So one research that stands out to me on this area is Bernie Warry's work. You can find it there, or just type in regrets of the dying and you'll be able to see. When we say the dying, I know what comes to your mind is 80, 90 years above. But now look at what is happening all around us. Nobody's promised tomorrow. What that simply means is none of us owns tomorrow. So if there's something we have to do today, there's no need of pushing it to tomorrow. If there's a way of life that we know we need to live, we can't wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow might be too late. Many a time we learn so much in life, but sometimes you can't even transfer what you've learned into certain aspects of your life because although you've learned them, but you learned them too late. So when you hear people saying, if I knew what I know today, I would have done life differently, all it means is a great learning has taken place. But just like I said, you can't go back into the future to undone a lot of things you've done in order to begin afresh. So all you can do is to start from today. And if you are consistent and persistent enough, then you'll be able to correct all those wrongs. But mind you, sometimes these wrongs are so much deeply rooted that it becomes troublesome to be able to correct them. And that's why I always say none of us can go back in time to make a fresh start. I don't think that is possible. But any one of us can make an informed and intentional decision now to start again and still reach a triumphant ending. So that's what I'm super excited about. If we acquire the knowledge, if we get the information and we don't use them to transform our lives, we are just like somebody buying a book and not reading. The one who's bought the book and the one who doesn't even know such a book exists, they are all the same. It is not buying the book that matters, but acquiring the information by reading. And it doesn't even end there. Once you get the knowledge, you begin to apply them. That is when we can say wisdom is at stake. So knowledge is power, knowledge is power. Hurry. No. In my world now, knowledge is not power. It's the applied knowledge that transforms my life that I can consider as powerful. Not just acquiring knowledge. There are lots of learned people out there. Acquiring knowledge is no more powerful to me. When I acquire that knowledge and I'm not able to use that knowledge to transform my life and the people around me and the work I do, then I am just like somebody who doesn't have access to that knowledge. And just like Miles Monroe said, the more knowledge you get, the more new information you acquire, and you begin using them, the more the way you have lived give way to that new information and the new knowledge. So it's not just enough to acquire knowledge. That's why we have a lot of learned people with all the degrees backed, with all the accolades, and yet lives are not transformed because you are an expert in a specific area. The entirety of life is not just an area. And even consider those of us who finished first degree, how many years ago? Masters, how many years ago? PhD, how many years ago? So if you don't so consistently study, your information is becoming obsolete, because new information is emerging every day. And that's why we need to study every day. So when I meet people who think they know it all, I just wink and pass, because I am in the student mode, meaning every day I discover I don't know much, because the willingness and the readiness I am to learn, the more knowledge and information I'm able to acquire. So I want to share these regrets with you, so it would be an eye-opening to you and I to be able to take hold of our lives and live. When I tell people my mission is helping people to reconnect with themselves, own their lives and live their dreams, it looks like just an English, paragraph. But it's deep to me, because I've come to do this work long enough to realize that many people are just existing. We see them all put together, but they know the lives they are living are not theirs. And their souls are bleeding. No, none of us should live in that state anymore. And that is why I am here tonight, sharing this with you, because I am equally learning along the line. So I want to share some valuable lessons from those who have walked this path before you and I, meaning they are older. And they have learned so much from their mistakes. These lessons come from a place of wisdom, learned through triumphs, but not just through their triumphant memories and moments, but through the regrets of those who are nearing the end of their lives. There is great power in understanding the things people wish they had done differently when they look back. Anytime you have the opportunity, a privilege to speak to the elderly, pay attention to their regrets. There is so much wisdom for you and I to extrapolate. So I hope these insights can help guide you and I toward a more fulfilling life. If at my age I can't be a free, agentic adult to live, then why am I here in the first place? And you might think you are older, you are younger. What is important is you get the awareness that I don't want this life. It doesn't mean you are not grateful for the gift of life. You are. But you still gather the courage to summon the confidence and the courage you need to live the life, to work towards that dream life that you deserve. So these are the 4 regrets that stands out through all conversations of the dying. Dying because now they know they've left their life. And at this point, energy is gone. It's not at this age that they're going to work hard to do anything for any next generation. So even if the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance for their children's children, at this point, all they're thinking about is their medication, their feeding, and probably a place, a comfortable place to lay their heads. But you and I that are younger, should we also walk through that path without learning anything? No, not at all. No more and never again with me. And I know you too. No more, never again. So you and I are on a course, on a quest. Number 1 regret of the dying. They wish they had had the courage to live a life true to themselves, not the life others expected of them. Mouthful, right? Yeah. A lot of people are living bits and pieces of other people's lives. Even the goals that would seem we are working on, many of these goals are things that are handed down to us by other people. They are not goals from our inspiration as full agentic adults. They are in awesome careers by all standards. Careers handed down to them by parents, by significant others, by anybody else who meant well. They meant well because that's the way the system also raised them and shaped their mindset. So it's not like they wanted to do harm to you. No, they didn't know. It is what we know that we give. It is what we have that we share. So sometimes people will be on you to do all these, put up the public facade of a successful life when you know this is not the life you want. It's not because they just want to use you to, gain points to their lives. But it's because that's what they were also raised. That's the way they were also programmed. So as long as he's a lawyer, you will definitely go to a law school too. Even if you end up being a frustrated lawyer, he is okay. He is satisfied. It's not because they mean harm. They don't know. So that's what they're handing down to us. And they get into their 70s and 80s and they are full of regrets. Because along the line, their soul was beckoning. They knew what they were expected to do. But they were thinking of what others will say. You of all people doing this, but that was what would have given their lives meaning and fulfillment. Self-actualization can't be handed down by another human to you. But that's the way we've been raised. That's the way we've been raised. So I hope these insights can help you and I, can guide you and I into a more fulfilling life. So their number one regret is they wish they had had the courage to live a life true to themselves, not the lives others expected of them. Number two regrets, they wish they had had the courage to express their feelings. As parents, we do this to our children because that's what our parents do to us. Not out of ill motive, not out of malice, but it's only what they know. Hi Nelson, thank you for being on. It's out of what they know that they share with us. So number two regrets of the dying is that they wish they had had the courage to express their feelings, whether it's to parents, whether it's to significant others, whether it's to people in their inner circle, especially the men. In our parts of the world that we can look at a man and tell him, you are a man, meaning bottle up. You know you are dying in there, and yet you have no reason to complain because you're a man. A man is not supposed to cry, says who? And you think depression is a woman's thing. Many of them, our men, are equally, deeply depressed. But we have raised them to bottle up. Be a man, meaning you are not supposed to confront certain situations because that will make you a woman. And things you are supposed to, also just ignore and go, that will make you less of a man. So you have to waste your energy to prove how manly you are and end up embarrassing yourself. So the second regret of the dying is that they wish they had had the courage to express their feelings assertively. Number three regrets is that they wish they had built meaningful relationships and stayed in touch and nurtured these relationships. You might think you are younger, but when you look around yourself and it's just the Bob no ranks, oh hi Kojo Sechi, thank you for being on, and you realize all the people around you, Bob no ranks. And all you're doing is to feed this kind of relationship. So you turn around yourself and nobody can impact you the way you want. You look around the level you have reached and there is nobody else there. You have become the village champion, feeding and feeling, fueling everybody without anybody feeling and fueling you too. Very soon you will run from an empty cup. So the number 3 regret of the dying is that they wish they had built meaningful relationships and stayed in touch with these people to nurture and build these relationships. People that can pour into you in as much as you pour into them in your own usual way. There are so many people around us. I'm not saying don't be a blessing to humanity. That is the essence of living. But in as much as you are pouring into others, surround yourself with people that can equally pour into you. If not, very soon your soul will bleed. If all you're doing is to pour and pour and pour, and some of us have been raised to pour in gallons, to love deeply and genuinely, sincerely. And yet the people that are supposed to pour back into our lives are pouring in pints. It takes 8 pints to fill a gallon. So if you are pouring in gallons and the people all around you are filling you in pints, very soon you run on an empty tank. So the number 3 regret of the dying is that they wish they had built meaningful relationships. People that when you are in distress, you can pick a phone and call them and they won't judge you. People that when you need help, they can freely offer that help to you. People that can look at you, look into your eyes and tell you you are making a mistake, so reconsider your decision. Even if you are feeding them, they can still be honest enough with you to tell you that no, you are wasting your life, you are making a mistake, so reconsider your decision. That is the number 3 regrets of the dying. If you are younger and you are privileged enough to know so much, please don't just gather the knowledge. Let it transform your life, because before you open your eyes, you'll be 40 and 50 like myself. I work with these people in their 70s and I ask myself, is this all life is about? And if these are their regrets, and greater percentage, majority of people are equally living these, are we to wait to get into our 70s before we give our regrets? Can't we make a U-turn today? Now that we have the knowledge, what are we going to do with that knowledge? Why do we acquire so much knowledge and yet afraid to live that knowledge, to live that new information? Fear of the unknown. We are comfortable. We want to be belonging. We want to feel so belonging. We want everybody to see us as good. So even if we get access to new information, new knowledge that we know would make our lives better, we are afraid to use that knowledge and that information. Just because of some small discomfort. Some people make mockery of us, but it's normal. There are lots of people in this life who will never, I am not a prophet of doom, but there are lots of people in this life who will just go through life and die. They will never own their lives and live. Is that what you and I want? No. If you and I want to live by reconnecting with ourselves, owning our lives, then we can't live like anybody else. So why are we afraid that these people will judge us? Why are we afraid? That people who are very ignorant, who are not particular about their own lives, will judge us. In case you don't know, my brother, my dear sister, a lot of people are going through this life who never own their lives. That is not what you and I want. So when they judge you, nobody has judged you. They can even make mockery of you. You know the work that you have done within yourself that very soon will manifest outwardly. So let the change happen and let it complete. Take it complete the fullest course in you. Don't be afraid of the judgment of people who will never own their lives and live. Your life is yours, and you are here to live it once. So reconnect with yourself, own that life, and live. Let's stop surviving and live on your own terms. The number 4 regret of the dying is that they wish they had let themselves be happier. Sis, did you hear? Bro, did you hear? The number 4 regret of the dying. There is huge research out there. Go study on your own. Is that they wish they had let themselves be happier. Why are we afraid to be happier? Some of you are blessed and endowed. You have made life more bobra say, and yet you are afraid to live. You are afraid to be happier because your focus is only the bad things that life has put you through. What about your blessings? What about your blessings? If you only consider your burdens in this life, your soul will depress. Count your blessings, my dear one. People are praying to have the life you have that you are taking for granted. I'm not saying accept mediocrity, no. I'm not saying don't improve. But in as much as you are hoping and working towards a better life, be grateful and be happy for where you are now. And be happier. Happiness is internal. If you get to a place in life that your happiness is not based on anything, nothing depresses your soul anymore. Nothing overwhelms you. When the whole world is into tantrum, you sit down, assess the situation, and you walk through like nothing has happened. When anybody and everybody is trying to put unnecessary pressure on themselves to live other people's lives, you are happier regardless of where you are. So these are the 4 regrets. Those who are joining late, go back to the beginning when the video ends and watch. And this is from my heart to yours. As working with people all these years, these are the main 4 regrets of the dying. You walk into somebody's home and see the magnitude of the house. Beautiful it is. All the positions and the accolades. They don't drive cars, they drive machines. And yet their souls are bleeding because of these 4 regrets. And beautiful thing about this life is at every intercession in your life, your soul will be knocking, letting you know this is not the life you are supposed to live. Open your eyes. Get wisdom, get knowledge. And yet we don't pay attention. So before you open your eyes, you are 50, you are 60, 70, and life is gone. And we are blaming the devil. The devil has no control over any of us. We allow him and we give him power. If you and I today are able to work through these regrets of the dying, we won't get to 70 and these will be our regrets too. No. So there are lots of people who are successful failures in this life. You and I see them and we clap for them because they have all the material things. Their lives look put together. But you get closer to them and identify, feel the bleeding of their souls. Because at a point in their lives, they knew what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to have taken a 160-degree turnaround, but they were afraid. They never had the courage to do it because they were afraid they would be judged. You and I are privileged today. What are we doing with this knowledge that we've acquired? I am 50. It looks like I went to sleep and woke up and I'm 50. You might be in your 30s, 40s, and you think you are very, very young. Before you open your eyes, you are 40 and 50. May these 4 regrets never be our regrets too by the time we are in our 70s. May we get the courage we need to turn around, to make the amends we need today, now. Because tomorrow might be too late. I mean now. In as much as none of us can go back in time to do these corrections, we can make a beautiful beginning today and still have a glorious ending. And we won't get to our 70s and still have these 4 regrets. So I know you are asking, how then do I change these regrets of the dying? Just like I always say, if I work with you as your coach one-on-one, it's different. But every other knowledge I put out there is generalized. So find what will resonate with you and think through them, because you know what you do. Many of you are so much intelligent and you're too afraid to own your life and to live. So find what will resonate with you, add yours to it, and live a happier, meaningful, and fulfilling life. So number 1, how can you and I avoid these regrets? Number 1, don't live somebody else's life. I don't know how loudest I should sound here. Number 1, don't you live someone else's life. One of the most common regrets of the dying is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. Yeah, that can only happen when you don't live somebody else's life. And you see, I did a video about the worlds in which you can decide to live in. How can I be comfortable to be in this when I've used this to do a lot of video and I'm still in it? This is my world. In my world, the knowledge I'm going to share with you is important to me than what I'm going to wear. Doesn't mean I will just wear anything, no. But my focus is not just getting anything anytime, wasting money buying things that add nothing to me, no. So even if I see people wearing new things, designer, whatever, I celebrate them. But in my world, that is not it. And it comes with so much peace of mind. You don't compare your journey to anybody's. Your only competition is yourself. Your better self today than who you slept yesterday. You have no idea the peace of mind that this brings you when you don't live anybody else's life. It is easy to fall into the trap of pleasing others, parents, friends, society, religion, by living up to their expectation. You know that pluralistic ignorance when the whole crowd is expected to live a certain way. I walk into a conference and they were supposed to, I think, put on a certain attire, either all white or all green, something. It's so many years ago. And because and you see how funny we are. So sometimes we see people judging others and they don't know they are showcasing their ignorance. And the man in microphone said, you see, you are not loyal. That's why everybody is wearing this color and you alone, you are in this. And I laughed and I picked my bag and walked out. Because where I was, if loyalty is not in my blood, I wasn't even supposed to struggle through traffic to get to that place. So once I was able to get to that place, I was so excited. And yet, as ignorant as he was, he thought I wasn't loyal. That's why I alone was wearing a particular color. How ignorant and naive that we could be. And we transferred that onto other people's lives and judged them, forgetting that we are showcasing our ignorance and naivety. And that is why I am happy that at this point in my life, I don't live to impress anybody anymore. If I don't feel right about it, the whole crowd can be say yes, and yet I want to say no. So it's easy to fall into the trap of pleasing everybody but yourself. And you see, we can lie to everybody, but we can't lie to our soul. Everybody can see you and clap for you. You are loyal, you are allegiance to whatever accolade they can give to you, but your soul, you can't lie to your soul. At the end of the day, your life is yours alone. If you are always trying to meet the standards of others, you may wake up one day realizing you never pursued what truly mattered to you. I share this example with mixed feelings. I started my NGO 10 years ago on my 40th birthday, and I don't know whether a lot of people thought I'd started a religious organization, and the comments people make, and I'm like, are these people really thinking right? They're educated, but are they really sound up there? And 10 years down the line, I am happy I did. Because the number of people across the globe, online, in person, that this same NGO has blessed, you have no idea. So if you don't get it, you don't want to get into your 70s and experience these 4 regrets, major regrets of the dying. Number 1, don't you live somebody else's life. Take time to understand your passions, your values, and your dreams, and follow them courageously. Follow them courageously. Even if it means disappointing the whole majority or going against the norm, follow it. You owe it to yourself to live authentically. The pretense is so much. And that is why people get into their 70s and they are all full of regrets. Live authentically. Originals cost higher than imitations. Aren't we tired of putting on the mask? Remove the mask and be yourself and live your truest, authentic self. God will only support you when you are you. The universe will bring help, support, assistance when you are you. But if you are raised and trained to live like everybody else, how would your real, divine, orchestrated, connections, support, and helpers identify you. They will come and see you like somebody else. So they will not even identify the need you have. Yesterday, a great man I can call a mentor. Kwabena Obendako, I salute you. You know why I call you Prof. This man drove all the way from Accra, his own fuel, to come to Akosomo to come and celebrate my day with me. You know those leaders who are not afraid that their disciples will shine brighter. Be careful of mentors who become tormentors. Great mentors are the people who would empower you so much to shine. Your light never bothered them in any way. They take pride in the fact that they've been able to raise people who have become equally powerful like they are. They will never be offended because you are shining and you are all over. You owe it to yourself to live authentically. If I was living somebody else's life, I couldn't get a great mentor and coach like Obendako. It is when I got into myself by learning and applying what I'm learning, by getting so much knowledge and wisdom and not being afraid to implement that knowledge. Because the more knowledge you get and you begin working out, living that knowledge, the more your older self give way to your new identity. So if you knew me even 2 years ago, that is no more me. This is a brand new Keziah 2.0, where I am in control of my beliefs, my paradigms, and my perspectives. Number 2, don't work your life away. Number 1, I said, don't you live someone else's life. Number 2, don't work your life away. Another frequent regret is, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. People are just working hard, wasting life in the end. They think they are working hard because we've been trained to work hard, to be busy, not to be productive. So they are just working hard, but they are never productive. They are running in circles. They are stuck, but they don't even feel it because they are on the clock working. So sad. Many people, especially in their later years, reflect on how much time they spent working at the expense of relationship and life experiences. You know, life is a constellation of moments. These people are just busy. They never built any moments, any memories. All they are doing is working, and yet they were just busy, not productive. So they get into their 70s and they are just full of regrets. The job that you can't will to your children and sacrifice body, soul, and spirit to build. When you retire, what are you handing over to your children? And yet, because of that job, you never even got time to build memories with your children. That is what paying you. That is what is sustaining your lifestyle. But is it better you can find time and space within that hard working to also spend time with the people you love? Not only to retire and realize you feel wasted because work only consumed you. Life is more than just a career or a job title. So yes, it's beautiful to have a decent job, a high-paying job, but within the job, spend time and build and nurture meaningful relationships too. Prioritize time with loved ones, cultivate hobbies, and make room for rest and joy. In my new book, I took time to explain the type of rest we need. When many of you hear rest, all that comes to mind is sleeping. And yet people can sleep and wake up and they are still tired. The rest you need is not sleep. There are 7 forms of rest. Get a copy of my book and you will learn so much. A balanced life is a fulfilling life. There is no value in reaching the top if you lose sight of the people and moments that truly matter. Don't get up there and be lonely there. Get up there and still have relationships that you can call yours. You have nurtured, you have invested into it. So of course, you can reap because you have also groomed it. Number 3, express your feelings and be true in your relationships. I see a lot of fake people and I'm like, what do you really mean? So we go about singing religious cliches and songs, and when people ask me, what is the God factor? God hates this, God hates this, and I said, yes, the God who equally hates that, equally dislike this too. So another regret of the elderly, the dying, is that I wish I had the courage to express my feelings in another deep regret. People often suppress their emotions, whether out of fear, pride, or uncertainty, only to realize later how much those unspoken words could have changed their relationships for the better. Why do you say you love somebody when you can't open up and have a meaningful conversation with the person? Why do you hide your feelings from the person and still claim you love the person? How come you can't be vulnerable with somebody you claim you love? Meaning you still build walls around yourself. So how can you enjoy? You can't give yourself into any meaningful relationship when you build walls around yourself, when you're afraid to be vulnerable, when you can't have a genuine and authentic relationship, when you can't express your feelings, like you are always on your guard. Because these are also people who are not mature enough that everything you say will be used against you in the law courts. They will judge you, so you can't even share. And yet you say you are in love. And bibia bo koko, wunyo bipa oni ne be share. You are so overwhelmed, pressed from all angles, and yet you can't even share. What is the use of that relationship? You can't even share. Nothing. Because everything you say will be used against you, will be judged. You'll be just so miserable that you regret knowing the person. Is that also a relationship? And sometimes because of your ego, these people love you deeply, and yet because of your ego, you can't even open up. And because you can't open up, you can also love deeply, because you are equally sitting on the fence. Be open with your feelings. Tell the people you love that you love them. You are African, but there's nothing wrong to let people know you love them. Let people know you love and respect and appreciate them. Don't wait for them to die and write a touching tribute. That is stupid. Let's learn to respect people, show them honor, and love them. How can you say you love somebody when you can't show that person love, when you can't freely express yourself with the person, and yet they pass and you can write a touching tribute? How did we get here in the first place? How can you develop, nurture such relationships? And how can you pour into that relationship? You are on your guard, so you can't open up and receive anything. Be open with your feelings. Tell the people you love that you love them. Share your appreciation. Ask for forgiveness and resolve conflict. Don't carry grudges. At the end of life, it is our relationship that matters the most. The most. If you work with people in their 70s and they open up and share their regrets with you, you realize we are just playing. We are just playing. We are just playing. At the end, it's our relationship that will matter. The big house, kakrebi na obeda. The car you can drive two at the same time. The designer you wear one at a time. It is the meaningful relationships you nurture. The people that when they pick a phone and call, your whole body is excited. Those are the relationships that will bring your soul joy. Don't wait until it's too late to be honest and vulnerable with those you care about. For the fact that you can open up and be true and be yourself, chances are that partner of yours is equally living the same. So both of you can't enjoy each other. You are just sitting on the edge, putting up public facade of a successful relationship, but you can never enjoy what it means to be in a meaningful and genuine relationship. Number 4, stay connected to those who matter. I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends, my loved ones, another regret of the dying. Many people realize too late that the value of meaningful connections, too late. Too late. Sometimes the people who truly love us, we could take them for granted, and my question is how and why? We can be good to everybody out there, except those we know that they truly and deeply love us. I don't want to live on that address anymore. So if I'm not with you, I'm not with you. But if I'm with you, I have to be with you. And if I realize it is not balancing and there's no harmony, then I don't deserve to be there. As you move through life, you'll be busy with work, family, and responsibilities. But never forget the importance of nurturing your friendships and relationships. It is because of a relationship. When we say relationship is currency, you determine the kind of currency yours is. What currency is yours? Euro, pound sterling, dollar, Ghana cedi, naira, shillings. What currency is your relationship? It is because of a meaningful relationship that somebody drove all the way. People came from Accra, drove for hours just to be with me because a connected relationship that you nurture. Not just to be a village champion, pouring into everybody without nurturing the relationships that will cause other people to equally nurture into you. Stay in touch with those who uplift and support you. Everybody is talking about equality, but I find equity so romantic, so beautiful. All of us can't give this on the same, but we can give based on our capabilities. And when I say giving, don't be like the typical average African Ghanaian. Giving is not just about money. People's time. For somebody to drive from Accra, come and stay with me for hours, the traveling time alone is enough for me to say thank you, for me to appreciate these kind of relationships and equally pour into it, nurture it, and groom it. Make time for those who have been part of your journey, even when life gets hectic. Sometimes we get so busy and we forget those who matter in our lives. The connections you build over time are a source of joy and comfort that you cherish forever. Respect love. Respect love, dignity. Sometimes even the crumbs we throw at other people, we do them with so much disrespect that they can't nurture such relationships. Making them feel that without us, their lives should come to an end. No. It's either you are in or you are out. It's either you are nurturing those relationships or you forget about it. But then assume that it would work by itself. It doesn't happen like that. Number 5, let go of regrets and live with a purpose. Another thing I've come to identify working with people all these years is people live not from the point of purpose. People go to school to build beautiful careers that will pay them so much well, not nurturing alongside their talents, their giftings, their purpose that will bring them meaning. No. So they have beautiful careers, but beyond the careers, their souls are bleeding. Let go of regrets and live with purpose. You and I would be able to do this when we begin adding meaning to our lives. I wish I'd let myself be happier before the regrets of the dying. How come you can't be a happy soul? I want to be 60 and still be like this, healthier and happier. It is possible. Many of you have the world. You are blessed. You are endowed. People are praying and working hard to get your life. And yet you can't be happier. Why, my brother? Why? My sister, why? Another deeply regret of the dying is that they wish they had let themselves be happier. Happiness is internal. If you live from the point of happiness, joy, that is not tied to any external factor. Regardless of what life throws at you, nothing overwhelms you. You are always happier. Instead of counting your burdens, you only count your blessings. And that itself makes you happier. This is perhaps the most heartbreaking regrets of the dying. Many people don't realize until it's too late that happiness is often a choice. I choose to be happy. Regardless of what you've been able to achieve for yourself, I can still be happy. Because it's internal. You may have the whole world at your doorstep. I may not even have anything to my name, but my happiness, you can't take it away from me. So how come you've been able to build this life for yourself, and yet you can't be happy? You can't be yourself. Only to get into your 70s and early 80s and also have this regrets. They stay stuck in situations, routines, or mindsets that don't serve them. Along the line, they know. Monsieur the baby, one kasa will cry, your soul will let you know. So the path you are walking on won't take you into your providential way. And yet you can't arise and take the U-turn too, because you're afraid of people's judgment. You know the very things that are not serving you now, but you still want to hold on to them and get into your 70s and now come to this same conclusion. When there is so much research out there, the regrets of the dying, and yet consistently people also get into that state and also find themselves in this same regret also. You have the power to choose joy. Yes, my brother. You have the power to choose joy, to seek happiness, and to live with a purpose, my sister. Don't wait for the right time. There may never be any right time. The right time is now, today, that you are listening to me, watching this video. Choose to be happy. Choose to be happy. There are people in a worse situation than ours, than yours, and yet they are happier. Haven't you come across people and you wonder how? Because what you have, they don't have a quarter of them. And yet they are happier in all setup. So why are you still holding on to just your bettings? Don't wait for the right time or wait for a perfect circumstances to embrace your full life. Don't wait for any right time or any perfect circumstances to embrace your life fully. Now is the time. If not now, when? You waiting to be 50 like myself? No, start it today. You deserve to be happier. Take a risk. Make memories. And don't be afraid to pursue what makes you come alive. In conclusion, life is short. Life is short. I went to visit my people, and a conversation, in the middle of a conversation, a woman was sharing how the three of us who were named after my grandmother, how we were born within the same period, and unfortunately, one of us is no more. Listen, nobody is promised tomorrow. Nobody is promised tomorrow. So if you are waiting to get the world before you become happier, before you become happy, before you become happier, I can't continue. Because nobody, none of us is promised tomorrow. So be happy today. Wake up tomorrow morning a happier soul. Life is short, and the wisdom of those who are near the end reminds you and I of what truly matters. Living authentically, nurturing relationships, expressing love, and finding joy in who you are every day. You have the advantage of hearing these things and these lessons now. So make the most of your time. Learn from the regrets of others. I don't know why as a people, we sit under people, listen to their stories, read about their stories, and yet we go through the same mistakes over and over again to also come and share the same regrets. Adam, why is it so with us? People share their stories so that those of us who hear can rewrite ours immediately. Not to get into their age, not to get into their situation, to also share that same regrets. So learn from these regrets of others and make choices that will leave you with no regrets when your time comes. In your late 70s, early 80s, you won't live with any regrets. Own your life. Reconnect with yourself. Own your life. Live with intention and treasure every moment. When people meet me and they are like, you don't look your age, I tell them it's the universe way of recompensing me. Because many of the nonsense, the bunch of bollocks I've been through in this life, if I were to allow it to show on me, maybe Michelle Kranka just so. So reconnect with yourself. Own your life and live with intention so you can treasure every moment. Be happier today whilst you summon the courage to live a meaningful and a beautiful life. Thank you everybody for being on. Oh, hi Christabel. Thank you for being on. Live. Get into your 80s if the Lord blesses us with long life. And don't just age. Be healthy and happier. Because we would work out all these regrets of the dying today. We won't get into our 70s, 80s and still have these regrets. That to me would be unwise. It would be foolishness in the highest dimension. So I shared with you the regrets, the 4 major regrets of the dying. The people in their 70s and 80s who along the line realized, had the awareness that they needed to make the needed change concerning their lives, to take the difficult and uncomfortable path, and yet they were afraid they would be judged, so they never summoned the courage to do so, and today they are full of regrets. May that never be our stories. May we get into our 80s and be so much full of blessings. Our regrets would have worked on from today. So we'll get into our 80s and we won't have regrets. We'll have wisdom. We'll have knowledge. We'll have blessings to live for the next generation. If we get into our 70s and 80s and still come about with these regrets of the dying, then it means we only survived. We never lived. May that never be any of us. May that never be our story. Oh yes, Kojo Sechi, Keziah 2.0 to the world. Yes. Yes, Kojo, let's talk. I'll let you know how you can get a copy in Tema. Okay? Right. So yes, if you're in Ghana and you want my book, reach out. I'll show you where you are and how you can get your own copy. May we never get into our 70s and 80s and still end up with the regrets, these 4 major regrets of the dying. May we live our full and authentic lives beginning from now. And because we've been able to gather enough knowledge, we won't build like a novice. We won't build out of ignorance and naivety. So what will take people 10 years, because we've gathered enough experience, we would use a year, 2, and 5 to build momentum so much that your soul will clap for you. Gather the courage, summon the courage, all the courage you need to turn your life around. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of living a mediocre life, of living in ignorance and naivety. So yes, I've reconnected with myself, own my life, and I'm going to live a full, agentic adult as I'm made to be. I will live, move, and have my being as ordained. And I welcome you into this journey. Let's march on regardless. Beyond the sky is our limit. As a matter of fact, there's no limits. There is no limitation except the ones in our minds. And once we are able to deal with the limitations in our minds, we will not run, we will not walk, but we will fly this time around. Thank you for being on. Spread the word, share it so somebody else would equally learn. None of us is supposed to go through these regrets in our 70s and 80s. Forget about the people who are putting up the public facade of a successful lives. They are swim, yet their souls are bleeding. Take the courage today. Let the world make mockery of you because you've reconnected with yourself, you own your life, and want to live your own world. In the beginning, they might make mockery of you. They might ask, what is wrong with you? What again do you want? But give yourself 5 years, 10 years. They'll turn around to ask, how did you do it? If you want a personal coach to work with, reach out to me and I'll be glad to do that. Until I come your way again, much love and blessings to all those of you who reached out to me yesterday and Friday for the luncheon online and the in-person. I am grateful. Relationship is very important to me. Not just any kind of relationship. Relationships that fuels me in as much as I fuel that also. So thank you everyone. Much love and blessings. Till I come your way again, I'm grateful. A grateful heart. God bless. and keep all of us. Bye for now. Thank you, Christabel, for being on. Let's talk. Thank you, Kojo Sechi, for being on. Rouse Chapel, thank you for being on. Thank you, everyone. Oh, hi. Thank you, Apia, for being on. I saw your birthday message too. I'm grateful. If you have any comments, you can put in the comments there. You can reach out to me if you need a personal coach to work with. May these 4 regrets never be our stories when we are in our 70s and our 80s. Bye for now, everyone. Thank you for being on. Much love and blessings.